Hello, everyone. So, this is our 11th episode, and we are talking to college in Gwalior. So, the students are from Rustamji Institute of Technology. We're really proud to connect with this college. And in this special episode 11, we have a very special and distinguished guest, my friend Ashish Varshney. He lives in Chicago, but he comes from Kota in India. He has an amazing journey that will inspire all of us, and also we're gonna learn a lot today. He went to IIT Kanpur for his BTech. After that, he started his journey in the software industry with Cognizant. Currently, he's working with Northern Trust Bank in their asset management side as an SVP. He is uh, leading the investment technology division, and he's also practice lead there. He has been working in the investment banking slash asset management side for almost 20 years. So he has a great depth of knowledge of that area, and that is the topic of today's episode, which is investment banking and asset management. So we gonna learn a lot. With that, Ashish, I'll hand it over to you so you can introduce yourself a little bit more in detail.
Okay, no, that's great, and thank you, Ram, for giving this opportunity. And I'm really glad and definitely excited to talk to you all today. Um, uh, I definitely want to share my journey. As Ram said, it has been really where you are sitting right now. I was sitting at the same place at some point. That was really exciting classes in engineering and doing the BTech. I started my journey from I was born and brought up rather in a place called Kota in Rajasthan. My parents really belong to UP. They migrated for jobs over there, and we are three brothers. My elder brother and my younger brother. I'm the middle one. So had done my schooling all through in Kota. As Ram said, right? I think definitely I was not one of those studious ones at all, right? I was definitely wanted to do a lot of other things other than engineering. I did not know what I wanted to do, to be honest. But at the same time, I think my dad, who was an engineer, he wanted us to kind of pursue studies and academics. So usual, like in India, the environment is that, hey, become a doctor or an engineer. So I was as usual as that, but very fortunate enough to kind of appear for these competitive exams, and glad to really made it to IIT JEE entrance at that time. Certainly was very fortunate to go to IIT Kanpur to do my BTech. Met a lot of great people over there. Definitely had an experience where it really made me realize like how modest you need to be, because you meet so many amazing people, right? I mean, you realize that you have a world to learn, right? And not only during schooling, not only during college, but after you graduate, once you really have a job, you continue to really take those steps, really incremental steps to build your profile, to build your career, right? And there is a lot to learn, right? I mean, as I said, in the job, after I graduated from IIT, I joined a consulting company in India called Cognizant Technology Solutions. I'm sure many of you probably would know, because that company now is probably, I don't know, I've stopped counting the number of employees that these guys have. Um, at the time when I joined them, it was 1,000 people, but last I heard, it was probably more than 300,000 now.
Wow. You
So
joined when you joined, it was only 1,000 people.
it was only 1,000 people, right?
Wow.
And nobody knew that these things will become so big. And I
Yeah.
think it continues to be true, Ram, right? I think today also we see these startups, and you realize that, you know what, they are doing something, and before you know, they are probably the biggest companies on the earth, right? So
Yeah.
Google is great example, Nvidia is great example, right? I think all of these things are keep happening, right? So I think the opportunities like ample. It's just a matter of like identifying them and pursue them. So, but anyways, right? I mean, going back to where I was, joined Cognizant, right? I mean, I was there in Pune, the city in Maharashtra. It was quite a change, right? Coming from a very small town of Kota and then studied in Kanpur, which was not a metro at all, right? I mean, it was pretty much a big town in UP, right? And then suddenly Pune, it was a pretty big promotion for me to see really the metro cities and the life. So definitely learning continued both on professional front as well as the social front. That's where I met my wife, and then we got married. And then in couple years from there, in 2002, 2003, that's where I made my way to US. Worked here for multiple banking and financial services clients at the time. Um, then I kind of decided to quit my first job in Cognizant and then join a company which I am still at, which is Northern Trust Corporation. We will obviously cover like the thing that I'm doing over there in a little bit more details. But yeah, I mean, the journey after that has been pretty terrific, right? I think, as I said, I think learning never stops. I'm still like learning every day. In Northern Trust Bank, I think, as you can imagine, right? I think there is not really hardcore engineering, but a lot of technology, software development work that is happening, which I was starting to help them with. Um, at the same time, I think what I realized that um, no matter what you do, but the business that you are supporting, the more you know about it, the better it is, right? So even if you're doing the software development, but if you know what software you are developing and how the business works, my experience has been like that helps a great deal, right? So with that in mind, I think my curiosity for the business continued, and so I ended up doing my MBA, and then also, as Ram said, CFA, which is stands for Chartered Financial Analyst, which is a good certification to have to know the business, especially in the asset and wealth management space, right? So, but at the same time, my job continues to be the focus on developing the software, supporting the information technology for this business segment and the business domain, right? So I have played variety of roles. I started, as I said, in Cognizant as a pretty much hardcore software developer, writing Java programs. Grew into more of a little bit leadership roles there and solution architecture, right? I think putting together how to implement bigger solutions end to end, right? And then really moved into some management and leadership as I joined Northern Trust. Have played a variety of roles here as well in various divisions, starting from and maybe I need to really tell you more what those things are, but starting from more of a, we call it as back office and middle office, right? Which is really when the, if you know of the trading, right? I mean, when the trade is made, you look at only the front end part of it, right? Hey, you bought the stock, but a lot happens behind the scenes. So that's where I was behind the scenes, supporting their software, but slowly started moving towards the front office side. And as Ram said, my current responsibilities is to really lead the technology for the overall investment management as a domain, and supporting the software development for the front office part of it as well. So yeah, I think I will stop here, but I would love to hear any questions. I'm curious to know you guys as well. So please feel free to ask anything.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Thank you for your time, sir. My name is Priyanshi Sharma. And sir, I want to ask that what's your main motive of choosing MBA after technical field? Why you have chosen MBA?
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's a
is it?
great question.
Yeah.
That is a very good question. In fact, when I was in your seat, I would ask the same question whenever I hear this pattern. When I see people doing hardcore engineering and then do MBA, It's a very appropriate question.
Mm.
I think in my case, which I don't consider unique, it is probably a very common situation. After you are in a software development like field or even an engineering field, right? What happens is you are doing the job and you are really learning a lot. So there is no dearth of learning. But I think it depends on person to person also, right? In my case, I kind of figured that my curiosity definitely is around technology. So I wanted to be in that field, but in technology itself, there are really roles which are obviously very technical, but at the same time, there are roles which are very much also leadership and people driven, right? I think what MBA kind of enables you is to get some of those aspects a little bit more refined, right? I think MBA cannot do the magic for anybody. It's just that it gives you an opportunity to interact with a more diverse set of people outside of what you are doing day to day. That's number one advantage. You kind of make a lot of network and relationships with people who are in different industries, who are doing different things, but who are studying in the same class with you. So you get to know quite a bit. You develop your skill sets, not only from a technology perspective, but also from a networking people perspective. And really, in my case, it was finance as the major. So you learn a lot of the domain, right? Because I was working in the banking and finance sector for 6 7 years, and kind of like I realized that, hey, I should pick up a little bit more from the business. As I said, right? I mean, just learning the business makes you even more effective in the job you are doing, right? Even if you're not doing directly the business job, but you're doing the technology job. But as a technologist, if you know what happens behind the scenes and how business runs, right? You can become a very trusted and a very front advisor to the people you are interacting with. So that definitely helped, right? So I never left my field. I was still in my field, but it just really helped me with a lot of the people management skills, a lot of the business domain skills, and things like that. And then at the same time, you make a good network of the people as well, because I know people now who are in another different financial institution doing something completely different. The problem comes in our company and people are discussing, I'm kind of I know I can get advice from that person who is working in that company, because I really now share friendship with this person as well. So it helps you make that network too. So that's kind of like I would say some of those reasons, right? I think some people do MBA, which is not my case, but some people do MBA for even different reasons. Like, hey, I'm done with technology. I want to do something else, but that something else needs little pivot somewhere, right? And MBA provides you that transitional ground, right? Hey, you are doing the software programming, but now you are very interested with corporate finance, or you are very interested with something in HR, right? Or something in business development, right? So you really end up doing that, and then you basically transition your career from your current path to another path, right? So there are different reasons, and hope that helped uh, as an answer.
Yeah, that's a great insight, actually, good guide, because a lot of people have that curiosity, like why should we do MBA? And I think it provides you definitely scale, but I think networking is the key thing in my view, which I think we talked about many times. I think पहले भी कई बार हमने बात की है कि like anywhere you go, any, like, just keep your network really good, and your like work ethics really good, because that will always give you new path. In fact, like, I think the whole objective of Library Create is also to create that network for you, so you can reach out to people like Ashish anytime, and you will get the advice of your life, right? Maybe that can change your life, so you never know, right? So yeah, I mean, great advice, Ashish. So I just shared the screen. Can you see it?
Let's start from where you are. I
Okay.
think
Here.
yeah.
Okay.
uh, yeah, so I just wanted to cover some of the terms, right? Since we are going to talk a little bit about what
Yeah.
these institutions like Northern Trust do.
Yeah.
I think um, I want to introduce, right? I mean, a few concepts, right? Um, there are, first of all, right, I mean, many banks like Northern Trust. Northern Trust is medium to large size of bank. You must have heard other very renowned banks like JP Morgan Chase, right? Citibank, right? These are like, I mean, really big institutions. One second. No, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
So as I said, right, I think usually you will see these big numbers, and you will wonder what is this, right? I mean, $1 trillion is a huge amount of money, right? I think it is like $1,000 billion. 1 billion has $1,000 million, and 1 million has $100,000, right? Or $1,000, right? So it's a very big amount of money. Where is this money coming from, and what are you doing with this money, right? I mean, those are some of the basic questions. At least when I was in your seat, I did not know anything about none of this, right? And I had, in fact, I never imagined that I will be like coming close to this understanding, but it has been pretty fascinating, right? I mean, once you start looking at things, I mean, on the face of it, you end up doing trading somewhere, some stockbroker, you end up like buying a stock and hold that stock for some returns. But think about, like, I mean, this is happening now. There was a time when it was not so digital, right? I mean, in 90s or early 80s, things were very manual, right? I mean, usually how the trading will happen is there will be exchanges, right? And there will be brokers, and you will be client of a broker. You want to invest in something. So and in those times, I think the volumes were so low because everything was manual, right? I mean, there was no digital facility to kind of submit your request for buying a stock, right? I mean, the way you used to do that was, hey, call your broker. Hey, I want to buy 1,000 shares or 500 shares or 100 shares of IBM. Can you do that for me? And the broker will take your request and will say, yeah, let me get back to you next week. And then he will go with his schedule to the exchange, and he will say, hey, I want to buy 1,000 shares. Anybody there to sell, right? And then they will have networks with other people through the phones, etc. They will find somebody who wants to sell you, and then they will really kind of like, okay, I want to buy, you want to sell, but think about how much you can do with that, right? You need to have millions of brokers, right? I mean, millions of spaces where they need to sit, millions of phone calls, right? So no matter what you do, you can do so much, right? But things changed drastically with internet, right? I think once internet arrived, right, which was early 90s, things started to really take a very different shape and very different scale. From where we were, we went to like completely digital mode, right? Especially when it comes to submitting the request. That itself was a big thing, right? If I can really use my computer and say, hey, buy this much, and then the request is going to a system instead of a broker, right? Which system is really a software running behind the scenes, and which is really having the other side of the equation as well, because the other people are also requesting to the exchange that, hey, I want to buy, this guy want to sell. So now you can really have unlimited number of requests coming this way, and all exchanges doing is matching, right? Hey, you want to buy, this guy want to sell, and you know what, and then it provides a lot of transparency into the liquidity, right? I mean, the price efficiency, which is really earlier case when the digital was not there. You have what you have in front of you. Those are the only sellers, and they can demand whatever they can demand. And if you want to really buy, you will probably end up buying that high price. But now there are unlimited number of sellers, unlimited number of buyers, right? I mean, your price will be very effective, right? I mean, you just can't take advantage of the situation. So the efficiency in the market, everything started really happening. So that was a huge revolution, right, in the financial industry, right? And these numbers that we are talking, $1 trillion asset under management, and somebody might even say 10 trillion. And there is another asset manager who is the biggest asset manager. Its name is BlackRock, right? I think they're the number one, and it actually has 8 to 10 trillion dollars under asset management, right? So that's not even that's basically not even GDP of India. India is really trying to go to 10 trillion. So think about it, right? I mean, bank managing sum which is equivalent to the full GDP of India, right? That's the scale that things have grown, but
I think
would
India's
not have.
GDP is like what, 3 or 4 trillion at this point, somewhere.
I think it is. I think it's five.
Five,
I think
yeah.
they're aiming for 10 in
So you are
next few
managing
years.
1/5 of the Indian like GDP. That's like huge, man.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying. I mean, the scale is huge, and by the way, I mean, Ram keeps saying I'm managing. I'm just a part of it, but I think there's a huge team behind this,
Yeah.
right? And we will cover those roles in one of the slides. I have those roles, which is what I think. I think, given you guys where you are, I think you should be aware of so many opportunities that are awaiting you as you graduate. But I think that's kind of like what I wanted to paint, right? I mean, this $1 trillion, it has not happened just by itself. I mean, there is a lot of innovations that have happened, not just in financial industry, but in technology, in really the way things basically used to work. It has completely revamped, right? And I think that has given these financial institutions a huge lever, right? I mean, to really operate. So I think these numbers were probably not even 1/50th in 90s. It has
Wow.
grown like 100 times from there, right? So I just want to make sure. So it's a free movement of money, right? I mean, you really have these institutions now helping probably the whole globe now. I
Yeah.
mean, think about 8 billion people on this earth, right? I mean, even if half the people are using financial intermediaries, right? I think it's a huge number of individuals who really are involved. So the system is now so integrated, right? I think that's why I think these banks are really able to take this money from the individuals and really be able to freely kind of go to any exchange globally. You talk about Bombay Stock Exchange or London Stock Exchange, yeah, in United States, NYSE or NASDAQ, right? I mean, they can really go anywhere in a very easy format now, and they can do trading, right? So a lot of trust has come in, right? Because now people have started trusting the financial institutions a lot, and that's why I think the scale has been achieved, right? So I'll stop here. I said a lot of things, but any questions from anybody?
Sir, please summarize with the main key points that we should learn from your journey.
Okay, so I think you want me to go back. This is good, right? So definitely. No, I think that's a great question, and I think it's a good question, and I think it's easy to for me to answer in words, but I'm sure you have a lot of practice on those things to be done, right? So here is what I would say, right? I think my key points would be completely open to learn, right? I mean, never have your head go so heavy, even if you are like thinking, hey, I got like whatever 90% in my whatever curriculum. I mean, I'm the topper of my class. That's great. I mean, you should be like definitely be happy about that. But again, I mean, that should not lead you to like stop thinking that you have no need to learn, right? I mean, in fact, you have more need to learn because you have made yourself more capable in your spot, right? To kind of learn, right? So I think definitely learning continues. You take advantage of where you are, right? I mean, do the best what you can where you are, right? I mean, so there will be so many situations where you will be looking. Let's say, for example, me or Ram. I mean, we come from a very modest background as well. We come from exactly the spot where you are sitting. We never knew that. I at least did not know that I'll be doing what I'm doing and I'll grow into this role. If somebody asked me in your seat, hey, become like that, I wouldn't have no clue how to become like that. And that's not even should be a target of yourself, right? I mean, you should not be thinking about that too much, right? I think my advice is always that there is a big scheme of things that is going on around you, right? You probably have to be making yourself aware of whatever is going on in the world, right? I think the awareness is very, very important. So what we are doing is great, right? What Ram is doing, and you guys are really having conversations every week or so. This is absolutely fantastic, because that kind of gives you the awareness. um, Targeting 20 years from there or 10 years from there, those are all theoretical things in my mind, right? I think you should definitely think about those things, but it comes down to really what you can do, right, in the moment that you are in, right? So in where you are, if you are an electrical engineering student, or a computer science student, or whatever engineering you are, I think the best thing you can do is learn the subject as much as possible, right? I mean, don't leave that. Do the best. Now, question could be, hey, what it will lead to? Okay, yeah. I mean, there will be so many things that will develop during the meantime, right? I think you probably will know after 2 years. Oh, because I did this or because I did that, I am able to now do this. If you did not do that, probably that opportunity will not be waiting for you. It will be given to somebody else. So, stepping stones is really a very, very important thing, right? I mean, keep collecting the stepping stones, right? You don't know how they will all come together at some point, right? So definitely, I think that would be my biggest advice, right? I think uh, opportunities are all around you. You have to just keep your eyes open, right? They may seem very simple, they may seem very very normal, and you might think, hey, what's the big deal about it? You know what? There is no big deal about anything. It is about really consistently doing things over time, which builds your profile, which actually makes you present to the opportunities which you never thought, right, 3 years back, that you will be there. But the reason you are there is not just the luck. It is because you have been consistently exercising in the moment what you can do the best, right? So in my case, if you really see, right, I think I did it. My BTech was in civil engineering from IIT Kanpur, right? I never thought that I'll be doing technology in software, but I started, right, because the opportunity presented. If you ask me how, okay, I did some courses because that's what I could do in IIT, which was software related, right? I mean, I think that I will go to software. No, I was just collecting the stepping stones, right? Okay, now you have few more stepping stone than civil engineering. Okay, I have the opportunity here, and I have an opening here. Okay, the opening comes and you can apply and you go towards that. After that, really, did I think that I will be really joining a bank like Northern Trust and doing all this thing? No. But again, I mean, since I am in financial industry, what can I do next, right? Oh, you know what, why don't I learn about trading? Why don't I learn about financial transactions, right? I mean, let me do MBA and let me try. So it makes you even more closer to little bit. But again, I mean, I never planned 10 years down the line. I just really say, okay, what you can do the best, do in the moment, really collect those stepping stones. They will design themselves in a way where you will say, oh, wow, this is a great result that you're getting. So I think that would be my biggest advice, or
Wow,
the key learning, right?
that's very insightful. I was like listening it, and it's amazing. I think the way you prescribed. I mean, keep it simple, right? And like what you see now, us on the other side of the table, it took us like many years, right? But we also had a very simple way of like um, traveling every day. Like just keep walking and you will achieve at a destination. But you need to keep walking, right? You need to keep working hard, and whatever is given to you, do your best, as Ashish said. And also, like I was like listening today, Nvidia's CEO and founders, like conversation with these Stanford students. It was really good, actually, very insightful. Like, there's link on the LibraryCreate page I shared. So he talked about couple of things. Like he started Nvidia with $200, three friends. He went like to create a company. So they said, okay, 20% each. Let's all club to $200, $600. They started the company. So $200 he paid for almost like a $500 billion that he, like, now maybe he's like 60-70 billion worth after he sold the shares. But what he said is like, they kept on working, working and working on things. Like first 1 year they had nothing. What he was telling was that they would meet and they'll say, what did you eat last night, what you had in the dinner, what you had in the breakfast? Oh, let's go there for lunch. how's the life and all that, because they had nothing like tangible to do. Obviously they were brainstorming the ideas and all that, but as he said, like destiny always creates path for you when you keep working hard and you have unique ideas, but you need to seize the opportunities, right? That's what he said. And another thing he said, the great learning, I'm just connecting to what Ashi's insightful message was, that become like a specialist, don't be a journalistic, right? Otherwise, you can still make a life, but if you really want to create unique identity, then become a specialist. And that's what nvidia did. Like they said, okay, general purpose cpu is there, like everyone is expert, cpu can do the job, every day's job on the computer, but I want to create something that's a special cpu that can, and now it's the mother of all the ai inventions, that the revolution we are seeing. So he also did not know in 90s that he's gonna create like something that he's doing after 60 years of the computer was invented or whatever, and then that's gonna be the mother of all the innovations of or ai, like that's gonna drive the ai, not like. So you don't know like where you're gonna go, but keep working hard every day, keep walking, and seize the
Yeah, yeah,
opportunity that come on your way.
yeah, yeah. And I would just leave it at this, right? I think career is a marathon, right? I think uh, you are where you are. You are doing your coursework, right? I think that's 4 years, right? I mean, you graduate, but then your career continues for next 50, right? So it's a long journey, and I think there will be a lot of things that will be changing in the surroundings that you are in,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes you are able to control the flow, sometimes you are not able to, right? And when you are not able to, you are not alone. Everybody is in that boat. I think i think um, planning for that much of a longer time is impossible in my mind. You just cannot, right? I think you what you can do is continuously, as Ram said, right? I think look for those opportunities which makes you a little bit equipped with skill sets, right? At any point in time, right? Continue to build your skills wherever you are, right? And that's where I think the continuous learning, open your
Yeah.
eyes, right? You will ultimately achieve something which most likely you may not have planned, but you will end up at a good spot. It's just
Yeah.
the ironic part of this long journey is that you can't predict, right? I mean, everything, but you will end up at a good spot. That's really the power of like collecting the stepping stones, as I said, at every juncture you are on, right?
Yep.
It will lead you to somewhere good, and that's really what your aim should be. Explorers, right? I mean, I say that you should be explorers, right? Continue to explore, and keep doing that every day, keep doing
Yeah,
that every year, right? For the time to come.
that's true. I think that's very good lesson. um so with that, I let me share the screens, sorry, the slides that you sent. So let me try. Okay, just bear with me. So which one should I share first? There are three.
Yeah, I think maybe we go to that quickly.
Invest
I'll go through the
investment
investment
management.
management. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Let's just go through that quickly. And I know. I mean, it may be not very relevant to your context, but it is a good thing to really kind of get
No, I mean,
exposed
this is
to.
another example of like you did not even know about the asset management. Now you have the opportunity to learn like the ABCD of it. So I think just try to listen and take notes, and yeah, and feel free to reach out later also, right? If you today you need to digest, there's a lot of information, you can reach out to us later also. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so this one is a again. I mean, a pretty simple view of uh, if I call it as investment management process, right? I think when people invest money, what all things are involved, right? I mean, if you have to categorize very simply, right? This is how you categorize, and you will hear this probably whenever you really come closer to the financial industry. I mean, these terms are very common, and I know it might be new for you. So I'll go slow and I'll keep it very high level, basic. Obviously, if you are interested to know more, as Ram said, I am just maybe a phone call away or something, and we can have another conversation. But um, really how we divide it is there is front office, there is middle office, and there is back office, right? That is really your end-to-end view, um, as you can imagine, right? So um, I mean, let me pause and kind of change the gear a little bit, right? So I think when you think about investments, right? Investments could be anything, right? Investments could be like you investing in stocks, as we said, right? Companies have the stocks, and you buy them. What you are essentially doing is you are investing in the company, because this share of company is really floated by this company to the people. People really hold this. You become a shareholder. You own the part of the company, right? So that's one way to invest. Other way to invest is really bonds and debts, right? I mean, company will say, hey, I don't want to give you my share of my company. You are not the owner, but you give me the loan, right? So that's another way, which is called bonds. And then those are the two most common things really available. But then there are a variety of things, right? I mean, as you know, right? I mean, you even invest money in land, you invest money in real estate, you buy houses, you put them on rents, right? All of that is investment. Um, there are companies which are not even public, right? I mean, exchanges do not know about them, right? I mean, that's called as private equity, right? So there are a variety of things that you do, right? I think all of that really, I wanted to make sure that this front office really talks through all of those type of investments, right? um, what usually ends up happening is, um, you, let's say, invest money with a institution. In this case, let's say, I don't know how many of you know mutual funds, for example, right? uh, because, like, there are two ways again, right? I mean, there is one way that, hey, let me buy Nvidia because it's doing great, right? I mean, I think it will really increase in value. And let me buy Apple, let me buy Amazon, and things like that. And you can make your own portfolio, and you can really start buying, selling, and then, but again, that requires a lot of skills, lot of time, right? Or you can say, you know what, I don't have that much of time. There are people who are experts, like in Northern Trust. There are people who are doing this job for their living, right? I mean, they really have all the resources, they have all the information, they have all the research done, right? They know how to invest. Let me really go to this institution which have, like, already packaged products, right? I mean, this is one of them, could be mutual fund or ETFs, right? I mean, those are the things which are really nothing but really already build blocks for you to invest in, right? So that's one way. Those are the two ways. And then you could be, when I say you could be an individual investor, retail investor like me and you, or you could be even a big institution, like, I mean, somebody who is really making sure that people get pensions after they retire, right? They are cutting from their paychecks a little amount so that they can provide them the pensions when they retire, right? All of that is a big sum of money because there are a lot of people involved, right? So we call them as institutional investors, right? So we are individual investors, they are institutional investors, right? So again, variety of types of investors, variety of types of ways you can invest, and variety of types of asset types like equity, bonds, real estate, private equity, etc. So it is not covered in the slide, but I just want to, because it comes before anything else, right? So you, once you decide what you are and what you want to do, I think all of this comes into the play. So I just want to, like, finish this slide off by saying, the front office is really nothing but, as it says, it is really the front part of what you do, which is the research on what is right and what is wrong investment. So there is a lot of things that are involved with that research, right? You can imagine millions of opportunities, millions of companies out there. I mean, to identify even 100 companies is a huge thing, right? It's a huge job. So a lot of the data is involved, research is involved. So all of that is
Research,
done
yeah,
here,
that's true.
right? Portfolio construction, which is really, okay, now I know these are good investment, and how much should I buy, right? I mean, should it be all equal weight? Should it be different weights? Should it be really following something which is already existing in the market, right? So a lot happens in that from a decision making perspective, right? And then basically you say, okay, let me send the once I decide what needs to be really bought or sold, let me make the trade, which is what the trade execution is. So really asset management and trade execution, and then comes the middle office. Once you really make the trade, this is where I don't think a lot of people know there is a lot that happens behind the scenes, right? You have to then, once you really bought something in the exchange, there are always two people involved, a buyer and a seller, right? You don't know, even when you buy something these days electronically, who did you buy it from, because you don't need to know, right? I mean, that's the detail you don't worry about, right? But this is where, I mean, a lot of things that happens behind the scenes, where whoever is the seller, he needs to get the money, right? I mean, if he's selling something, you need to really get the shares, because you are really buying the shares from them, right? Somebody needs to really do that bookkeeping. So this is what all happens in middle office and back office. A lot of things that basically comes in play. Sometimes the things fail because I don't have the money in my account and I ended up buying. So it needs to be reverted back, right? I mean, it cannot go through. So there are a lot of people who get involved. A lot of intermediaries are there. That's why you will wonder, like, what is like these hundreds and millions, hundreds and thousands of banks. What are they?
You're talking to many parties. I think we lost Ashish. Looks like his phone died. So he's gonna join soon. Phone died or
The
something?
phone died. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
was trying to ask, like, getting people, getting these students comfortable. So I think they were asking like the question, like, after hearing us out. I mean, obviously it's great learning, but they need to digest it a little bit. So they were just asking what kind of intensive opportunity they may have in this area.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think maybe what would be good is maybe just to open that slide of job
Yeah, the
roles.
other
I
one.
think that
Yeah.
yeah, the other one.
Yep. Hmm.
Um, um,
So there is one job roles. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Let me know when you see it.
yeah, yeah. So I think there are a lot of things, right, that happens, as I said, right. I think these are some of those roles, and I got this slide from the CFA Institute, which is really kind of considered as the Bible for investments and
Oh,
things like
nice.
that, right?
Okay.
So I think this is how they describe various type of roles. Um, as it says, right? I mean, there are advisory roles, which kind of like really very special skill sets, right? I mean, you obviously want to build more academics before you can even get to the internship state. So I think more or less those type of roles are very much applicable for people who are doing something in finance from an academic background perspective, I would say, right? Or you have experienced that in a job, and then you can really have. But the second thing, right, the analytical roles, right? This is where I think a lot of technical skill sets is involved, right? I mean, when you call somebody an analyst, right? It could be like any type of analyst, right? And a couple of these roles, right, which I've mentioned here, data analyst or data scientist, right? I think with the AI and machine learning and a lot of data that basically is driving the decisions, right? This is where I think, depending upon your interest, really what you are pursuing right now, I think these are the type of roles which are open for a lot of internships, right, in this area, right? What it does not list, which I also want to talk about, is that for a role like me and my division and my department, right? I mean, we are doing a lot of technology software development, right? All of the things that we spoke about, all the electronic digital transactions and trading that is happening, a lot of software is needed, right? In fact, software is becoming the business these days as well. So a lot of those internship opportunities with software development, right? I mean, we have a lot of open roles here, which invites for the college students to apply towards those things as well, right? I mean, people come in and help out. with the software development, and they basically pursue that as their career later on as well. So I would say I think really primarily in your stage, if I have to think about, because you're all engineers, I think it's really more of those technical roles are very applicable. But at the same time, some of the roles that I said from an analytics perspective here, right? I think that's kind of something that you might be also interested with and want to pursue those.
Yeah. Noting that down and working towards that may be a good idea for you folks. And then we have another slide, right? As we are getting close to the time, so let me
Yeah,
share
yeah,
this also. Um,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
No,
this is like whole process that you were explaining. Got it. Yeah.
yeah. This is really definitely more details than I think you would like at this point. But I think this kind of, if you pay a little bit more attention, and then you can share around with everybody
Yeah,
these
I will.
documents, right? I think it's a, in case you are interested, I think this should not take a lot of skills or a lot of like, I think, knowledge to go through with the basic concepts of front office, middle office, back office. That's why I really put that slide before, right? I mean, it shows you this is how, and this really kind of outlines what happens, right? I mean, the key things and key steps in those things, right? So
No, this
um,
is good, very insightful. I myself enjoyed. I learned a lot, though I'm like in the same area. Any final question from your side? Yeah, go ahead.
Please tell us about the investment process in summary, in short.
in short, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No. That's I love to explain in short, and it could be very simple, right? So investment process starts with, I would say, research, right? You want to research what is good as investment, right? So in very simple terms, that's what it is, right? Now that research requires a lot of data, right? Because what stocks, I mean, there are millions of stocks, right? I mean, there are so many exchanges, and you don't want to lose opportunities anywhere, right? So you need to find out what they have like given you as return in the past, and how risky these stocks are, because sometimes they are at $100, another like few days down the line they are 10, and again they are 90, or again they are 5, right? So you don't want those type of like risky stocks, right? So again, I mean, you collect a lot of data, how much risks are involved, how much return expectations are there with those opportunities, whether they're stocks or bonds, whatever those are, right? So that's the first step, right? Once you know what all is there and how good or bad those are, then what you want to do is, depending upon who you are, like, are you really investing for next 50 years, or you are investing for next 2 years, depending upon what your time horizon is, what's your risk appetite is. Because if you ask me, I mean, we are not in our 20s, right? We are in our 40s or touching 50s now, right? So I think we want to invest in the market, but again, I mean, we are thinking that, hey, for my retirement in another 20 years, I want to have my money back, and then I really don't want to really invest in a place where it go bankrupt, right? But at the same time, if you guys come out and you really start your career, you have 50 years, right? Even if something goes down, it will most likely come up also. So you can take more risks, right? So once you really know what all is available, as how much risks and how much returns are involved, that's the research part of it. Then you say, let me construct my portfolio, right? Depending upon my time horizon, right? How much longer I want to invest and how much risk I want to take, right? I mean, everybody has different risk appetite, right? Somebody might say, hey, I don't care. I have like $10 million in my bank. Another million, if I really invested here, it doesn't impact me. But if I have only $1,000, I can't invest that money in the market so easily, right? So my risk appetite might be different. So depending upon what your risk appetite is and what you are really expecting, you construct your portfolio. That's what is known as portfolio construction. So you do research, you do your portfolio construction, and once you know that this is what really my portfolio looks like, and here are the stocks or bonds or whatever investments, you want to then trade that, right, in the market, and you want to continuously manage that, right? That's what is known as portfolio management, right? So once you construct, you manage that, right? So that's really portfolio management. And then you do like trading every day. So the trading is involved. So those are the four things I would say: research, portfolio construction, portfolio management, and then trade. So does that answer in a more simpler way? I know there was a lot on the slide, but yeah, that's kind of like more or less simple definition.
Yes, sir. We understood.
This is great. Actually, very good information. Again, thank you, Ashish, for your time. I know it's late, but I think we really enjoyed it. Man, you're amazing.
I know that that's
Um,
great. Yeah.
yeah.
I enjoyed it myself as well. Great to meet all of you virtually here. So thank you for listening me, and thanks again, Ram, for giving the opportunity as well. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All the students, have
Thank
a
you,
great day
sir.
ahead. Enjoy. Okay.
Thank you.